Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, and I'd like to call this regular board meeting to order. The first order of business is a pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll reflect that all members are present with the exception of Redmond and Miller. Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was, and as a reminder, it's being live streamed and recorded.
All right, welcome to visitors. Public comment?
Yes, we have Tom's Wall.
All right, and per policy, please be brief in comments, and remember there will be no reply from the board.
Good evening, everyone. I know on tonight's agenda, there is a discussion about the use of AI tools in our learning education of our students. I thought I would point out a few headlines all within the last 12 months that have came up surrounding AI. Professor in Texas failed entire class after using faulty AI plagiarism tool. AI meal planner suggests a recipe that created chlorine gas. Facial recognition caused wrongful arrests. A food bank in Owatonna was listed as an attraction solely based on the line that was outside of it. It thought it was a public attraction that people would want to go to, like a fair. MSN has been using AI to write articles for them, and they wrote an article after NBA star had died that quote unquote called him useless now that he is dead. So insensitive. Air Canada just lost a court case because the AI tool it had used wrote back to a customer and offered them a discount that their policies didn't offer, but they had to abide by solely because the AI tool said that, and it was ruled as legally binding. Google has generated factually inaccurate images, including race and gender, solely, for example, if you asked it to generate Nazi soldiers, it would generate a whole spectrum of Nazi soldiers, including Chinese, Black, Germans. It was not factually accurate. The NIST has labeled it as a bias software. I have emailed you guys a list of these links as well as 2 peer-reviewed articles on the bias of AI. There's a famous quote I hope a few of you in the room recognize. He who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. I have great concerns about the use of AI in our classroom. I have great concerns about the reliance our classrooms use Google for. I have spoken to multiple of my students' teachers and multiple conversations with building principals about the use of Google and privacy concerns around it. There has been 2 lawsuits against Google where they have not admitted fault, but paid major fines. One was for $170 million in different states because they violated child privacy acts. I've had no less than 4 conversations with building principals, and I've never signed a waiver for my students to use a Chromebook. But yet my daughter in the past week has spent over 3 hours on her Chromebook. So I don't see how passing a policy of AI is going to aid in our students' teaching or prevention or solve any of parents' privacy concerns, as AI scrapes everything fed into it and strips away any intellectual property from the students, from the writers, from the people you put it in. What they write down, if your teacher uses it for a plagiarism algorithm, AI will then take that data and try and incorporate it into its own model. So your student's writing style, your kid's writing style is helping to grow these models without our consent. Thank you.
All right, now we have highlight on use. We've got Battle of the Books by Coach Ian Saul.
Good evening. We're just gonna get this here. Not- There we go. All right, I have with me two of our members of Battle of the Books. I'm gonna go through kind of the nitty gritty of what it is, and then I'm gonna let these two take it away and let you know about what they loved about the program this year. Battle of the Books is something that comes from WEMTA, which is the Wisconsin Educational Media and Technology Association. It's been around for many years. I've been privileged to be a coach in other districts since I think 2013. And when I noticed that we didn't have it here at St. Croix Central, I thought, what a great idea to bring something else as an opportunity to the kids of our school. We primarily did it in the middle school this year, and I'll get into that a little bit. But the why of Battle of the Books, I've highlighted a couple of the big pieces, and this is directly from WEMTA's website. A passion for reading. Anytime we can get books in the hands of kids, especially in a fun atmosphere, I think that's a win. Diverse range of books. There's a selection of books that are voted on by many different people, coaches of the teams, librarians, school districts, and the WEMTA Council, which has a lot of librarians from districts in it. And they choose books that have been given awards. They choose books that are new. They choose books that are old. Some familiar titles that you might be familiar with are Winn-Dixie, things like that, things that you may have read even. Old Yeller has been on there. And then there's new things that are just coming out. They really look for diversity in the types of books they have, from fiction, nonfiction, picture books at the elementary level, and even graphic novels, which are very popular right now. And really important, encouraging students to develop really good reading habits, because this is a competition. And so we want students to be reading voraciously and fiercely getting involved in different books that they may not have picked up if they weren't on this list. So this is the what. It's a statewide reading challenge. So in February, the two teams that we call them kind of the varsity teams, they got to compete virtually, not with other teams at that same time. There's a week time frame when they are doing a battle. It's all online. There's no time, but you can see these kids just working when they're going through the questions, because it is very much collaborative. We had two teams this year. We did an elementary, which was grades 4 through 6, and that was made up of our 5th grade team. So Kendall was a part of that. And then we had a middle school team, which can be grades 6 through 8, and that was our 7th and 8th graders. You'll see here on the next slide how many students we had. All of the students that participate are part of the team, but unfortunately we can only have 4 from each of the actual team levels compete in the final. So that's why we kind of say of the varsity and the JV, everybody's a part of the team, but we can only have 4. So there's 20 books on each of the lists. We did not do a high school team this year. And throughout the state, it's pretty low. I think there's only 72 teams across the state. Lots of opportunities for high school, but this is not a high flyer for many high school students. The students work in teams of 2, 3, or 4 at the final battle, but again, when they come to practices, they're all as one. So these guys have actually worked on teams for books together and done some activities. There's a Moodle site, which has all kinds of resources for coaches and students to be able to get in there, and they'll talk about some of their favorite things when it's their turn that they liked about that site. But we also did old school stuff. we went on the board and tried to match things. We had discussions. So it wasn't all technology, but that is nice that we have that option to do different kinds of activities. And then the culminating statewide online battle to figure out who knows the books best. I will say, when we talk about the types of questions that are on this, because it's not, there's volunteers that are running this whole thing. These are not depth of knowledge 3 and 4 questions. These are asking simple questions, asking for the title of the book and the author of the book. But when I say simple, by no means could anybody answer these if you haven't read the books. You have to have read the books. They're looking for the nitty-gritty details of these books. So how do you do this? You register your teams. We registered back in September. We buy the books, and what we decided to do this year is we bought 4 copies of each of the books. At this point, we didn't even know how many kids we were going to have, but again, getting books into our schools, we knew that they were going to be used. So with the dissemination of the books after the battle was done, one set of all of the books went to the library, and Jenny Franklin, our library media specialist, has now created an area for Bob books. So kids who are maybe interested or have heard about Bob can see these books and go, oh, I know that Duncan read that. I'm going to grab that book. The other thing we did is disseminated them throughout the classroom. So we have 2 through 4 of the other copies, and all of the teachers were able to put these into their personal classroom libraries for kids to read at other times, and they all have a sticker on them of the year and the Bob label. Then we meet and we practice. So some of the kids met during focus time in school, because we didn't want to make this something where you had to come after school. We know kids are doing lots of activities, especially we were meeting Wednesday nights. So for families that have church activities or other practices, we wanted to give them different options. So I was the coach that met after school on Wednesdays. And then Autumn Domeyer, our GT teacher, did a lot of the coaching during school. And it was a come as you're able type activity. We really wanted to include everybody as much as possible in this. So this is the who, the most important piece, right? Who's doing the work, who's having the fun, who's coming. So we had 24 students this year, 8 5th graders, 8 6th graders, 3 7th graders, and 5 8th graders. And reflecting on this, Ms. Domeyer and I reflected on it from the very beginning, and we've already reflected with people who are potential coaches for next year, is how can we get this out in a better way to really get kids interested. So we've talked about videos that we can play during pause time with former participants who hopefully will be current participants next year, to really get kids excited. But it was one of those things where we would rather get it in than not do it because we didn't have the time to really develop it. So that's a goal for next year. Across the state, the elementary school, there were 248 teams that competed. Each school can only have 1 competing team. So we can have 50 kids, but we can only have 1 team compete. So even bigger districts, 1 per elementary school can actually compete. Our 5th graders, who were comprised of the elementary team, took 35th place out of 248 teams. So they did really, really well. And I was part of the team when they tested, and the conversations that these kids have and the collaboration and the working together is pretty amazing. I mean, they're really going back into specifics about the book to try and answer, because again, they seem simple, but they're not. A lot of them have similar themes in them, so they did a great job. And then our middle school team, there's 166 middle school teams. Ours did not place, but neither did 80 others. And we kind of went, well, we know what we got to do next year, right? A little bit more practice, knowing what this was, being that it was the first year. But they did a great job and they had fun. Our culminating activity was we did a pizza party, which actually Duncan and I just made up for ours today because he had the flu the entire week. So he was not able to attend. So we had some gas station pizza, which is really good, isn't it? It's really good. So we met today and did that. So these are the 2 lists of the books. You might recognize some from maybe your reading to kids or your own kids, Land of Mars, picture books that are on there, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So I just thought those were interesting to take a look at and see if you're familiar with any of them. And that's all I've got. I want these 2 to share some of the things that they've done through the program. So I'm going to step aside. And they're not nervous at all.
Welcome. You just want to tell us your name and what grade?
I'm Duncan Kristoff. I'm in eighth grade.
Okay.
I'm Kendall Sackman and I'm in fifth grade.
Do you want to tell them about your favorite books that you had during the 5 months? Do you remember?
My favorite book was The Truth As Told by Mason Buttle.
What was it about?
It's a fictional book about this kid. He had like learning disabilities. He had a really rare disability as well that was like he could see colors, or not see, but like emotions, like clouds of colors. And he was framed for 2 deaths because some other kids tried to play pranks.
What was your favorite part about being on the Bob team?
Getting to know other people and reading books.
And Duncan came every Wednesday. I mean, I'm pretty sure you were there every Wednesday. It was pretty cool. And he'd go, "It's Bob night," which I love to hear. Kendall, what was your favorite book?
My favorite book was Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt. It's about a girl who has dyslexia, and she was able to hide it through a lot of teachers, but she had a long-term sub, and he was able to see past all her tricks and help her become confident with herself.
And what was your favorite part about being on the Bob team?
I liked hanging out with my friends during all of the meetings and reading new books.
We had 2 other participants that were going to come tonight. One was Nola Miller, and she just said it was a little crazy tonight, couldn't get here, but she wishes she could have. And then we had Levi Johnson, who was planning to come. But it was a great time, and these guys made it fun. So,
You have 5 weeks to read, or 5 months to read 20 books.
well, that's the strategy. So they didn't necessarily have to read all 20. The team was selected based on, did all of you combined read all 20? No, there's some students that are going to read 20, not a problem. And then there's some kids that read 5 books, so they still make the team because they knew those 5 books.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's who we have a tracker, who's read what, those sorts of things. So we know we want to have somebody on the team that's read everything.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Nice job.
Yeah, thank you for coming and sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing
Thank you.
it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Guido 2 presentations. First, we have Mason Walsh. Oh, and
Want to start off by saying thank you for giving my kids the opportunity to speak and do their presentations here tonight. The GEDO 2 program stands for GED Option 2. And what it is this program for kids that are credit deficient and otherwise wouldn't be able to graduate high school. So all of them have to do certain requirements. They have to pass health, they have to take citizenship exams, and then also they have to do a combination of credits or passing GED tests to be able to finish the program. So we'll start Mason off here tonight. Mason's going to go first. I'll give you a little background about each one of the kids. I'm not going to say too much because some of it's in the program. Mason was just accepted to the University of Wisconsin River Falls, which we don't see a lot with the GEDO 2 kids. Oliver Fall is going to go next. Oliver is taking 4 classes this year at WITC. He was able to get done all of his required coursework earlier in the year, and then move on to taking his classes. And then Lucas Court, sorry, going to be our last one. Lucas
has technically graduated already. He came back. He was supposed to leave for the military 2 weeks ago. But they extended his AIT training, so he's able to come in and do this tonight here. And then he'll be able to attend graduation as well, which he didn't think he'd be able to do.
So came in enough to hit like, I think it's F8 or something like that to display. One of those buttons up there at the top, F7 or F8 or
I don't have
usually a picture of a screen or.
Let's see from over here, Mason. Turn it over to Mason Walsh.
Hello, I'm Mason, and okay. So I guess mostly how I got here is like, so growing up, I was always like put on a pedestal. I was always like, those little like paper plates. Every kid would go around and like say like one thing about this person, and it'd always be like, oh yeah, they're hardworking and smart. So then at the start of COVID, I was put in online school. And basically, I was okay with this, except for the fact that I wasn't able to see my friends anymore. So, but as online school went on, I basically quickly fell behind. And basically, the thought in my head was like, wait, so all the people saying I was hardworking and smart, maybe that's not true anymore. So it was like, kind of like sad. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. But basically, it was around, I think, yeah, my junior year, I came back to school. And basically, I had a lot of people helping me to get back on track to where I am now. Some of my interests and passions are art. Art's always been a thing that's interested me and basically allows me to express myself in ways that aren't words. Another one's science. It's always been my favorite subject in school, and basically there's never been a subject of science that I haven't liked. And reading is, even though I wasn't a fan of it growing up, it's been something I've enjoyed doing recently. It allows me to use my imagination to interpret like what's happening. My strengths, I would say, are my creativity. Basically, I'm going right back to my art. Like I really like doing art. My optimism, it's something I had to use to basically get through those 2 years of online school. And then my patience, I'd say, growing up in a big family, having a lot of sisters, I'd use that. Then I have weaknesses, probably disorganized. My room right now, well, not looking good. Perfectionism, I feel like I have to go with my art. It's like it has to be perfect. And then my bad work ethic kind of goes back to my 2 years of online school and falling behind. How has the GDO2 program helped me? It's helped me by helping me earn my remaining credits that I needed in order to graduate on time. Where basically I want to be able to graduate. What I learned about myself this year. Something I've learned about myself this year is that if I work hard and have people to lead me down the right path, I'm able to do a lot more than I previously thought I could. My successes this year. I've been able to catch up and finish my classes. My grades have improved immensely, and I've been able to reconnect with my friends over not seeing them for like 2 years. My future plans are to go to college and major in fine arts and improve my art skills, and hopefully finding a job in graphic design, and also staying in touch with friends and family. Thank you.
If you have any questions for the kids, feel free to ask them when they get done with the presentation.
So Mason, are you staying on campus or will you?
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I'm going to start this off by saying I might have misinterpreted a couple of things that were on the presentation, so it's probably a little cheesy.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah, so this first picture is me up in Michigan. I went rock picking with my sister. Super fun. I would recommend it if you guys like that. So this is the first part that I feel like I kind of misinterpreted. I wrote like an actual sort of story, but I guess I'll read it.
Yeah.
I sit staring into space as I contemplate myself. Am I good enough, smart, strong, or kind enough? Interrupting my thoughts, a meow. He climbs onto me, flopping down with a huff. I look down, and through those wide oval eyes, I know all he sees is me. not my insecurities, my anxieties, anything. He sees me, as a person who gives him pets and kisses, who picks him up like a baby, who sits outside with him and watches the birds, who loves him. I am strong, I am kind. Who am I to say he's wrong? I guess I should probably give a little context about that. That's about my cat. I'll have a picture of him. You guys will get to see him. I love my cat a lot. But so interests and passions. First one, art. Seriously, as long as I can remember, I've been obsessed with art. No matter if it's just drawing, painting. I probably draw on the walls a couple of times, honestly. But recently I found like a lot of interest in bead embroidery. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. Music. Bad for my ears, but I love loud music. I love rock. Just anything that will get me going, get me singing. I said screaming along with it in my car, just jamming out. I did listen to music on the way here, very loud. But seriously, it has helped me in so many ways I can't even explain. Like school, I feel like I'm probably blasting music a bit too loud and other people can hear it, but it's helped me in so many ways. And baking, it combines my love for art and music. Like I said, nothing better than jamming out in the kitchen while making something. About just as early as I began drawing, I started baking, even if it was just like mixing flour and water and random ingredients. Little part two for that, I have one of my newer pieces of art. I like it. My most favorite album is from Ghosts. It's, I guess, rock in a way, and a raspberry banana bread loaf that I made recently.
It does.
And that's my cat. His name is Moon Pie. He is a big cat, 3 legs, short tail. Not sure if he's blind, but those are his actual eyes. My strengths, passionate, very passionate about what I do, especially when it comes to like art and stuff. I get deep into it. Detail oriented, I mean, I get into the details, I guess, same way to say it. Creative, I like to think I'm creative, hopefully. Even when it comes to school projects or just art in general, I'm always trying to find ways to make it look fancy. Weaknesses, my other cat, Luna, I put her on the weakness slide because she's mean. I'm a perfectionist. I feel like that is definitely part of why I was struggling in school. I spent way too long on projects, on papers, everything. Just had to get it perfect. Extremely introverted. Can't tell. I'm nervous up here. A little shaky. Not the best with people, but I feel like I'm getting through it. And easily distracted. ADHD. It's wild. That's all I'm gonna say. How the program has helped me. With school, before I started the program, I tried to start high school in person, and I immediately fell behind. I had to go into like a program that made me even further behind. And then I switched to online, and with my ADHD and my perfectionism, I fell even further behind. But joining this program, it has given me so much freedom to take care of not only myself, but explore myself. It's not forcing me to stay on survival mode. It's giving me the freedom to explore, basically. I keep saying the same things, but seriously, without this program, I would not be half the person I am today. I genuinely do not believe I would be halfway through high school at this point. What I've learned this year, this is my dog, her name is Georgia. Along with techniques to focus better and work more efficiently, I've learned how to take care of myself while staying accountable. Still a little lackluster in that department, I should say, but I feel like I've definitely grown in my skills of doing multiple things at once. My successes this year. This is my other cat. I have a lot of animals, if you guys can't tell. I also have a fish that I didn't put in here, but this is Squeakers. She sounds like she squeaks. I started 4 college courses. I'm doing pretty good in those. Straight A's, I'm pretty sure. Actually made some friends. That sounds pretty sad, but with my extreme introversion, it was hard to make friends. And may not sound like big to other people, like a big thing, but I started hormone therapy. I've been waiting for this for years, so I feel like it's a big success for me. Future plans. Currently, my plans are to go to a community college, WITC, and finish like general education, and then transfer to a 4-year university. I'm kind of hoping for like River Falls, which I've grown fond of forensic science, specifically entomology, which is why I got a bug up there. That is a Madagascan sunset moth, by the way. I actually have a couple of those, like taxidermy, I guess. Ultimately, I'd love to get a job as a forensic medical examiner. Thank you. I want to thank all of you guys, the school board, for the opportunity to present and show how much this program has helped me. I feel like even if my words aren't perfect, because I'm a little nervous, I'm hoping that I'm able to express how much this really means to me. It wasn't only the program, but it was teachers, administrators, social workers, and my parents, friends, and family. So many people that helped me and got me through this. Every step of the way, they were there for me, and I'm just grateful this program exists. And I'm not only for me, for everyone. I'm glad it exists, basically. Thank you.
You did an awesome job.
Finish with Lucas Court.
My name is Lucas Core, and this is my G2 presentation. My story, I lived in Arizona my whole life until I was 17. 2 years before I moved here, my dad passed away, which led to family problems to where I couldn't go to school. So, I met my biological sisters again, which live up here, and I moved up here to be with them and their foster family. One of the requirements was I went back to school, so it's that. And how the G2 program has helped me. It's helped me a lot. I would have graduated next year, which is not good at all. I should have been graduated last year, so it's helped me quite a bit. Yeah. My interests and passions. I like to play pool. I like to play tennis. Well, table tennis, my fault. And then I play Fortnite because I just grind that game with my friends. And yeah. My strengths. I'm friendly. I like to listen, and I always have my friends back, no matter what happens. Weaknesses. I get distracted easily. I fall asleep a lot. I procrastinate, and I let other people make decisions for me. So, like my friend, he says this, and I just go along with it. I don't think there was not a day I have not fallen asleep in Mr. Flanders' class. So, for like a whole record, they had a calendar in there and marked out every day I fell asleep. And then procrastinate too much. I could have been done and graduated school October last year, so just pushed it off. What I learned about myself, language arts is not that bad. It's still terrible, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like physical activity, before this, I did not do much at all. I stayed inside most of the time. I want to be a scientist. That's like for sure goal. And I want to do something that changes the world. So my future plans, I plan to go to college for chemical engineering and aerospace engineering. And my military career, once that contract is over, I'm done and I'm not turning back around. I'd like to thank you guys a lot because this program has helped a lot. And I'm graduated, which is great. And I'm headed in the right direction where I want to be headed. So thank you guys very, very much. I think that's it.
What branch of service are you in?
I'm in the National Guard.
National Guard. And I heard AIT is next. You done
Yeah.
basic?
I already did basic, yo. That was fun. It was a little harder than I thought it was.
Still gonna ship you out, or are you not sure?
Oh, I shit,
What are you going in? What's AIT school? Like what part? What are you going into in the military?
Infantry.
Infantry. All right.
That was a collective decision between me and my friends, so we kind of threw each other into it. So $20,000 bonus. That's the only reason why I signed up. And then after AIT, I get to have a nice one-way ticket to either Syria or Kuwait.
Mm.
So see what happens there. It'll be fun.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Is public speaking a part of this program? I feel like they do a very good job
Yeah.
for all being self-proclaimed.
Well,
Introduce.
we practice. Lucas was the only one that kind of got caught off guard because we videotaped his, thinking that he was going to be on a plane
Sure.
at this time going. But then I found out that he was back here still, so we put him in. But no, they did a great job. Everything was done on their own.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Very
Thanks for
much.
sharing. It's not easy to get up and say your strengths and your weaknesses in front of people, especially you all. I think you all three kind of said you're introverts, so it takes a lot of courage to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, every year when this group comes in, it's always kind of heartwarming or whatever. I think Mr. Flanders does a really good job. I think all you guys would agree, right? So, I mean,
Put them on the spot.
each one of your stories is
Yeah.
inspiring, you know, I mean, because back when I was in school, there wasn't that sort of program, you know. I watched friends just kind of fade into and disappear basically, and you guys get a second chance, so that's pretty cool. So you should be proud of yourselves.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on to comments by board members and superintendent. First is congratulations to the elected board members, Josh Pettit and Brad Wester and myself. So I think we just do the oath of office now, right? He doesn't want to go there.
You get to read it individually or?
You read all of this.
No, we're
Or Derek, you don't have to read it too fast.
I, Erica Jerry, have been appointed to the office of St. Croix Central School Board of the state of Wisconsin. Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God.
That's the journey.
Thanks.
But you're welcome.
Okay, so next on the agenda is new school board member onboarding. And so this is Josh and my second term. So that leaves Brad to learn all about the district policies and just protocol and get acquainted with the business office and.
So I understand you went to the new board member orientation, WSB put on, just last night?
Yeah, last night, from 7 to 9
And then, we'd like to just set up a meeting. We, always, meet with new board members, Jen and I, and then Erica, as board president, and just, cover, basic board governance, any questions you have, but high level board governance things, meetings, and then Jen will talk about the financial piece, the budget, very complicated. We try to do a crash course in that, and just do a kickoff meeting and then go from there. So, I'll reach out to you and we'll get that on the calendar here in the next few weeks.
Right, moving on to the meeting recap up at CISA, which was the joint PAC BOE meeting, and Tim and Dave and Jeff.
You want to start, Dave?
Yeah.
We're gonna do. Okay. So, it was all about demographics and specifically Wisconsin demographics. It was very interesting. Some high level stuff, probably not surprised, but there are more jobs than there are workers to fill them in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not a destination state, internet for international citizens or international folks, nor domestic. He showed a picture of a shirtless beer-bellied Packer fan with the G pointed out on a pin on his chest. So this is what people think Wisconsin is, right? And you know, whereas you think of Colorado, maybe you think about the Rocky Mountain or Montana, probably a better example. Beautiful, pristine scenery and the rivers and cowboys or whatever. But then he also talked about the importance then of like attracting and retaining top talent because it's more competitive than ever. Specifically, he was talking to school districts, making the experience for any of our candidates that we interview well. I always say, you know, let's say we interview 8 people for a teaching position, 7 are going to walk away and not get the job, but we still want their experience to be good, and they're going to still say good things about St. Croix Central and really, really wish they'd gotten the job after the interview experience because we treat them like our guests and say, boy, I really wanted to work there. They go out and our ambassadors and talk to other people what a great district St. Croix Central is. That's just one little thing, but you talk about making that experience good, getting back to them when you call them for interviews. I mean, notice some districts wait 2 or 3 weeks, and in that time they're snapped up. And then we've got a checklist for our whole hiring process, then our onboarding process, you know, the first week, first 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, we have mentor programs, etc. And he got creative with the benefits. And you know, one thing he said that hit home with me is it's only a benefit if it's perceived as a benefit. In other words, like he talked about kind of that cycle, employee cycle. 25-year-olds are maybe a benefit most important to them would be debt loan forgiveness. 35-year-olds, health insurance is most important because they're raising a family. 45-year-olds, maybe they're thinking about 403B and saving up for retirement. 55-year-olds, maybe vacations are more important. Obviously, you can't give benefits based on age. It's age discrimination, but you can offer a menu perhaps. And we do a number of those things. We don't do debt forgiveness, but there are programs out there that that a lot of, fortunately, educators, especially in rural areas and shortages such as math or science, tech ed, et cetera, that they incentivize. But anyway, then they talk about some creative things like Netflix subscriptions. You know, every time an employee turns on their Netflix account, they think, well, you know, St. Croix Central really cares about me, and you know, they're what, $15 or $20 now. I think, you know, what was some other ones?
Did they provide housing too?
Yeah, we've talked about housing stipends has been floated out among other districts for ideas to attract and retain an actual housing. I know Wisconsin Dells, going to a conference again tomorrow in Wisconsin Dells. They are doing that. They built some housing. It's not free, but at least there is housing, right?
Pretty hard to find.
Affordable housing, correct. You know, pet insurance or some things that are out, you know, just getting creative. Not saying we're going to do any or all of these, but we do have to be competitive. And that's why I think that referendum was, you know, huge. And passing that and being competitive with salary and benefits. I know it, and it's come to fruition. We've seen it with, we've hired more veteran staff than we ever have. They're able to come from other districts and not take a pay cut. That's a big benefit. Yeah, I think that's about it.
I don't have too much to add. I just thought it was really eye-opening to see the reason behind all of the trends without all the political garbage that usually comes with it.
Yeah, that 18 to 64-year-old demographic, they showed just a pretty sharp decline. That's the working ages, right? I was surprised to see one of the fastest growing by percentage populations is 85 plus. You know, he talked about all the baby boomers and folks retiring and going to need care by the younger generation, and he acknowledged that what we all know. And I don't mean to generalize, say that, you know, it's general about the younger generation, just, you know, has different values and sometimes work ethic, sometimes, and, you know, the importance of education more than ever, and turning out quality individuals that are going to be part of our society and workforce.
Thanks for knowing.
Yeah.
All right, next up is the referendum update.
Well, I can start with the tour that some of you just went on and your impressions. I mean, Eric and I see it every other week or so.
I've been in part of it. and then like the outdoor, you know, and then some of the indoor stuff. But like today was, I mean, it was really, it was awesome. I mean, like
So
the
every time we turn the corner, like, there's more.
yeah, the size of it, just how well it was done and explained, and it was really nice. It was great. I thought it was really neat.
It was about 3 times the size I expected it to be.
And just what we'll be able to offer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's neat to, it won't, you know, obviously it's just for us, but you know, having a teacher that's experienced in both at the college and here, I mean, kids will come out ready to go with the equipment, which is awesome.
Yeah, the variety of technology with the video productions room and the green screen and the sound booths, you know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And definitely a way of the future, something that we need to, you know, stay competitive with, and producing, you know, kids that are, well, you saw they want to go into graphic design, for
Right.
example, right? Be able to do that in high school. Yeah, in early planning stages with the community task force, you know, and our staff said, we just need space. Like you saw our metals area, you know, was a third of the size of this room currently. You know, our woods is about the size of this room,
Yeah.
right? The new woods area is 10 times this big. It's huge, and it probably, like anything, will feel cramped after we get all the, you know, new technology and equipment in there. Now there's 40 to 50 hours, not for everyone, but of training to be done just with the new equipment, HVAC systems, etc. That's going to be done over the summer. But yeah, you know, we don't have a current auto program, so now we have an auto bay and we'll have an auto program. The welding, there's 12 welding booths. We currently have 4. It's gonna have the, you know, newest technology with hoods and vents, autos, right, with the newest technology, with the hose reels for the exhaust. Like I said, just a bunch of space, and robotic welders, plastic injection molders. I mean, the technology will be amazing, and I know the community has supported that from day one. So that will all be complete, substantial completion in May, and then with some punch list and some tie-ins and stuff over the summer and the training and moving all the equipment in, it'll be ready to go for the first day of school next year.
It was awesome.
I'm looking forward to the final tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be,
The little details thing too, and the one that really stuck out to me, I don't know why, was that outlet, the pull down, the outlets that were like recessed in the ceiling, so it wasn't in the way and stuff. And it was just like, it was things like that was, it's big and it's nice, but it was like not just, you know, we just didn't make a bunch of big space and not do it right. It was like
thought out.
Yeah, it was thought out. Yeah, that was really neat. It was really neat.
I want to acknowledge Wold Architects and Engineer
Yeah.
for doing that design, listening to the user groups and coming up with some, like you said, innovative ideas.
Well, just their lessons learned from other districts.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, you could never put that together.
Right.
And the shared resource areas with the, you know, pull out high top with the giant screens, work on and display the laptops. And then, you know, the culinary arts area will be all this summer. That'll be interior remodeling. So that's going to be really high tech as well. Be exciting to see, but they'll be ready for the first day of school too. Tight window for that over the summer, because can't even start moving equipment until, you know, end of May there, or moving it out to remodel. And then we did talk about at some point, maybe, you know, brainstorming about mid-September having a ribbon cutting and a you know, grand opening and a community open house for the community and everyone to be able to see that. But we want to wait until everything's done and functional so they can see how it functions. So it's not that far away, really.
Okay, next up is staff appreciation breakfast plans for Wednesday, May 8th. And that means that we are present at buildings on that date and serve the teachers breakfast. And I think that's at 7:15.
Yeah.
And we split up and we take different buildings and just visit with the staff, check-in, and thank you for everything that they do. So we've got the elementary school, middle, and high school.
And the bus garage.
And garage.
Go to the elementary school again.
Okay.
We'll go there. I haven't been there yet. The other two.
I'll do the high school. I think I did middle school last time. I'll do high school.
Okay. Brett, are you able?
I'm in Dallas.
Okay. I'll do the middle school and then we'll check in with the other two. And we can know. And does someone need to go to the bus garage?
To deliver their food.
Yeah,
No, we can
Okay.
take care of that.
all right.
Yeah.
And what time do they usually get back? Is that like at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, usually we just pick it up and bring it for them, so it's still warm.
Okay. So maybe,
Yeah, talk to Derek and Jeff,
okay.
about that.
Well, maybe just figure out.
Make sure somebody's there at the bus garage.
Okay. Will
And,
do.
yeah, DO too.
Yeah, I'll for sure stop in. The deal. All right. And so it will be already there, right? I'll be in the staff lounges.
Yeah,
Okay.
the food service team is gonna take care of having everything ready.
7:15. All right, and next up is thank you to Vince Trudell, board member for 3 years, for your service and your opinions and your thoughts and your calm way of things, and
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
I maybe didn't start this all with the greatest reasons. It's kind of COVID related. Want to make sure the district wasn't gonna get all stupid or something and stuff, so. I grew to really like this group and get along, and I think we accomplished just a ton in the 3 years that we were here. Me and Josh and Erica were totally inexperienced, and I think we rolled along pretty good after hit our bumps, right? So
Mhm.
learn to appreciate everybody's what they offer. But the one thing I always knew is that we had the greatest staff around. Like that's what makes it, every we build kids or whatever into adults. They do a great job of it, and we belong to the best community around. Like that's what I've always wanted to represent is my portion of the community, or because I grew up here and just always want to keep it St. Croix Central. So best of luck to everybody out here. Yeah, work priorities and family just kind of took over. I wasn't able to run again, so I was, anything worth doing, you have to do 100%. So if I couldn't give 100% to this, I just couldn't do it anymore. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to the district. So it was
Thank you.
a great experience. So
Thank you, Vince.
Yeah, we really didn't know what we were doing when it first started. We kind of looked at each other and said, "What's this?"
we winged it, and we were like a majority of the board pretty much or whatever. And then quickly we learned like Dave moves out of the district. Kurt, his job took over and he was able to do it. So we've always had Jeff, I guess, but man, like the major turnover that this board's had in the last 3 years, it's crazy.
But one thing's remain constant, right? Doing what's best for the kids and the community and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. And it said that, turned over 6 of the 7. Yet the board has remained very, very highly functional.
Yeah. And when we came in a referendum, it just failed. We got right to work and figured a way to pass that referendum that's gonna, I don't know, it's the future of St. Croix Central, right? Like that's the biggest step I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's impressive how it's all come together. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Vince. Appreciate it. Okay, ladies, your turn. Yeah. So scheduled presentations by guests and staff members. Mental health programs, Frank and Betty Johnson, Trinity Lutheran Church.
First of all, are you all aware of the fundraiser coming up? You are? Good. Okay, well, we're here because as usual, we would like you to promote this for us so that it continues to be a successful fundraiser, and hopefully all of you are aware of what we do. It's for the mental health programs at SCC. We're doing something different this year. In the past, we've done things like the waffle breakfast and spaghetti suppers, and this year we chose to work with Barn Board, and they've been very willing and helpful in getting that together. But we're going to have it there. People can order food, and it will still count toward the amount that we will raise. You can make donations, and you don't have to come and eat anything. Just give us some money.
Yes. 10% of all sales from 5 till 9.
Yeah.
And there's a little leeway in there. So I didn't know how that all worked. Tuesday night is their pizza special night. All kids like that, so bring kids. Give your wives a break from cooking, you know. We've been working with Alyssa Iverson, SCC grad. She's doing awesome.
And she's excited about this.
I heard she's the manager.
Yeah, she is. So, it's been fun working with her. We have a quilt raffle. We started it at the church, but we're bringing it over on next Tuesday night. It was made by the ladies of our church. If you want to look at it, go to Trinity Lutheran Hammond, their Facebook page, it's on there. And, share from there in your Facebook page. Sometimes we think we are lackadaisy in advertising. We've done it all. We don't know what else we can do. We even got it on 95.7 radio station. It went on their Facebook page. I put it on maybe like 12 community pages. I kind of like Facebook. None of them had turned me down. I shared it on my page and word of mouth. So we're also going to be having a raffle that's going to be only at the Barn Board. And what there will be hanging baskets. Sue and I are going shopping for them on Friday. And it's only going to be, you have to be there. We're not selling any chances at church before or after, strictly there. So if you want the Gerton's hanging basket, the chance that, come over. All the raffles are $5 each or 3 for 10. So, is there anything else?
No, the big thing is just promote for us, promote and be there. Encourage the staff to come, encourage the kids to come. It's for those kids. And if we can do anything to help one person, we've met our goal. So keep one.
I think this is our 8th or 9th year.
Yeah.
I know at one point, probably a couple of years ago, our church had already, I think it was right in the $20,000 area we raised. We want to keep that going.
Yeah.
So, like Sue said, this is really new for us, so we don't know how it's going to turn out.
If it doesn't work, then we'll.
Yeah. And carryouts also.
Yes.
So carryouts and everything, beverages and whatever. So
one last time, what is the date and what is the
Oh,
time?
23rd.
Let's do it.
The 23rd of April. It's from 5 until 9.
So Tuesday, the 23rd,
Yeah.
5 to 9.
And I think when I called the school to see if there was any conflict, there might be something with the middle school track event that's happening maybe, but I thought people need to eat afterwards.
On the way home.
Done before
pick it
9
up.
o'clock. Yeah, right.
That's true.
10 o'clock.
But then they can call and order.
Yeah, right.
So just spread the word.
Well,
We've,
yeah.
we've really gone above and beyond. I don't know what else we can do. So,
Good.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
we'll get on our Facebook page. I'll
Yes,
remind
yeah.
staff.
It's on the
Couple
marquee up
times.
at the high school already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
I know Facebook's really
Yeah.
effective.
yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for everything.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Like you said, 8 or 9 years, thousands of dollars. And yeah, I know there's no statistic per se that said, well, you saved, one, but I know just right from our admin and staff, lives have been saved. So
You do a
just know
lot of
that.
good things with
Yeah.
the money that you raise, so that's
Yes.
awesome.
Good.
We're very thankful for that.
And Pete usually gives a little report
Yeah,
at some point too, so, and we have to hear that. The members of our church have to hear that. Someone said something to me once about what they're doing with it, and boy, I set them straight in no time. The way it is, I know it's not.
Good.
So, anyway. but
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so
letting us
much.
come.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Next time
you.
we're here, we'll have a check. Look at that.
Good, good.
See you Tuesday.
I gotta say, you planned a pretty special night tonight, like whenever you get to see Betty and Mrs. Frank. I learned all my cooking skills from Mrs. Frank. And then to have Cayman's kids in here, that's always one of my
Yeah.
favorites too, so.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
loved what I
thank-
did for the district. I loved working here and it's just, it was great.
I remember having, after-school detention with you and it was the worst detention ever. I had to take the garbage out and then you made cookies.
So much.
Did you get detention again?
I don't know. I had to miss wrestling practice to go do that. So.
Attention. That's awesome.
All right, one last financial report, Vince.
Okay, here we go. Citizen State Bank checking, we got $4,776,099.52. Citizen State Bank money market, $125,531.84. 146 holding strong at $56.91. Suicide prevention fund, which Betty and Mrs. Frank were, it's their money basically, right? So $5,039.27. Fund 39, $165,970.93. Fund 49A referendum money, $3,986,701.03. Fund 11, more referendum money, $3,685,965.51. Fund 12, debt service, $150,232.28, for a total fund balance of $12,895,597.29. Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any more discussion? So Vince made the motion, Dave was second. All in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we have the consideration of the consent agenda. And there are no curricular modifications this time.
Then I will move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So Vince made the motion, Dave second. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now we go on to administrative reports, student enrollment update by Tim.
all right. It's time of this report. For April, we have 1,591 students in seats in person, and we have 315 open enrolled students in our virtual school, 39 resident districts full-time in our virtual school, 140 our resident students taking at least one course part-time in our virtual school. Totaling, the number of students that we serve in our virtual school, just under the 500 mark there. So a lot of students. We have the most open enrolled in our charter school ever, 315. And then pre-introduced lunch rate has crept up compared to years past. It was usually in the 23-24 range. It's at 27.41%. State average is 37.5%. Questions?
Thank you. Okay, moving on to key work of our school board, student, staff, and community recognition.
I got a handful here. So.
All right, let's go and
Buckle up.
recognize these things.
Kendall Sunby, Kendall, what an amazing hockey season and career. Congrats on this year's achievements. A berth for your team at state individually, your first team all conference, Big Rivers co-player of the year, all-state defenseman, and once again, the Wisconsin Defensive Player of the Year. And thank you for representing us so well. Brennan Sanders. Brennan, congrats on your selection as a first team member for the Middle Border All-Conference in hockey. Brad Holzer and team members of the wrestling team. Congratulations on winning the Middle Border Conference Championship this year. Brennan Holzer, Garrett DeLong, Will Schmidt, Teague Holzer, Brock Swenson, and Owen Wasley. Congratulations on being selected as first team members of the Middle Border All-Conference Wrestling Team. Owen Wasley, congratulations on capping off a fantastic career, winning the 165-pound wrestling state title. Teague Holzer, Teague, congrats on the strong finish to your wrestling career as the fourth place state medalist at 132 pounds. Maverick Kostrezak, and Hayden Buckle. Maverick and Hayden, congrats on being selected to the Middle Border Conference second team all-conference in wrestling. Evan Knospe, Noah Nussbaum, Aiden Ballard, and Damian Indikevich. Everett, Noah, Aiden, and Damon, congratulations on your selection as honorable mention members to the Middle Border All-Conference Wrestling Team. Elsa Rubis, Elsa, congrats on being named as a second team member of the Middle Border All-Conference Girls Basketball Team. Sophie Hook, congratulations on your selection as honorable mention team member of the Middle Border All-Conference Girls Basketball Team. Mason Sullivan, Mason, congrats on being selected to the first team of the Middle Border All-Conference Boys Basketball Team. Nolan Mirth, Owen Talladge, Nolan and Owen, congrats on your selection as second team members of the Middle Border All-Conference Boys Basketball Team. Greg Green, congratulations on your retirement and best wishes. Your dedication to SCC is amazing. 46 years, you are leaving an amazing legacy. Jackie Newell, we'd like to congratulate on your retirement. We're forever grateful for you giving 34 years to our SCC students, staff, families, and our community. Best wishes. Guy Victor, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for giving your passion to SCC students, staff, families, and community for the past 21 years. We are extremely grateful and wish you the best. Gary Larson, congrats on your retirement, Gary. 32 years of dedicated service to the students and families of SCC. We are truly grateful. Best of luck. Pete Nussbaum, congrats on your retirement and best wishes. Your dedication to SCC is amazing. 27 years, and you are leaving an amazing legacy. Ruth Pfeiffer, congrats on your retirement, and thank you for your dedicated service to the SCC Elementary School and the Food Service Department. We wish you the best. Bob Ritchie, congrats on your retirement from SCC. Thank you for your dedicated service and best wishes. Jane Kerber, congratulations on your retirement, Jane, and thank you for all you gave to SCC. Best wishes. Michael Kirby Lang III, congrats on your retirement, and thank you for your 5 years of service to SCC. Vince Trudell, thank you for serving your community and the school district during your term on our school board. You are appreciated. A lot of years there in those retirements. A lot of years.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah, hundreds. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So Greg, he was my custodian when I was in elementary school, and he was always the nice custodian. Mr. Hinkle would grab you by your neck.
Yeah.
Vince, you should have stayed out of trouble in school.
Great attention.
Yeah. Sensing a trend here.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to core agenda items. First up is designate board members to hand out diplomas for the 2024 graduation ceremony, which is Friday, May 24th. It's Memorial Day weekend. So we always offer it
you
to
want
the
to,
senior.
Treasurer?
Okay.
As long as the middle school bus gets back from Washington DC.
Yeah, that's right. I heard. Yeah.
All right, anybody else up for it this year? Otherwise, I will do it.
Friday, 7.
7 p.m.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I can't say yes right now. but
Okay.
we can talk.
Okay.
Diplomas handing out.
Oh, yeah.
And so I can do it as well,
Brad, Erica, maybe Lance.
I can-
or you, yeah.
Between one of us, we can.
I'm available to if you need
Well,
somebody.
who wants it?
Nope, it's up to whoever
Yes,
wants to.
whoever
We'll
wants
see.
to. Yeah.
So I'm a coin flip right now,
Right.
so.
I probably am too, so let's just wait a little longer. And
I
then
would
we'll-
say probably no more than 4.
Right.
Right.
The stage.
Yeah.
Can't fit that many people on stage.
If you could just try to figure out somewhat sooner, because I gotta let Heather know
For
at
the
the high school
program.
for the program.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so when you say soon, let's give us a deadline.
Come on.
Right.
I'd say Friday would probably work even.
Okay, Friday would be fine.
You guys will get a text from me.
Just have a wrap that conversation before
Yeah.
Friday.
Before Friday, before she texts you.
Okay, very good. Moving on to selection of board members to serve on committees for 2024 and 25. And those are then listed below, right? So-
Yep, really only have support staff, meet and confer, teacher meet and confer. Wage and benefit is as needed and have it. Really, that was really an ad hoc committee, for the referendum. Hasn't been a need for wage and benefit. If there is, then we form the committee. So right now,
Do we
support
want,
staff and teacher meet and confer.
do we want another one to kind of continue and monitor the implementation of strategic plan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I'd like to anyway, just to, I know we have a multi-year implementation.
Yeah.
Kind of, but it would be good to,
Good point.
just a gut check.
So then a strategic plan committee, obviously, I mean, it's determined every year, but I assume the same folks would want to continue. But then, discussion is with Brad, obviously too.
Yep.
So Brad, just for your benefit, meet and confer is done once a year after we dissolve the union. We still believe strongly in meeting with our staff and just listening to them, right? It's very rarely about wages or benefits. That's kind of set based on the budget. But, anything from t-shirts for the cooks to snow days for support staff, lots of things have been listened to, considered, and implemented. But it's typically done in May, and that'll be the next thing, is to set the dates that work for everybody. Typically I have, 3 on each committee, and then Erica sometimes on both, or one of the others. We might have 3 and 4, just to make it even. Then the strategic plan is what it sounds like, right? The strategic plan committee was formed last July and developed strategic plan, and then now, we'll continue to look at the goals and updates and status and progress monitoring twice yearly. So with that said, I think maybe just start with one of America
Okay.
and ask who wants.
So for teacher meet and confer, who would like to be on that?
I'll do that. I think I was on the support staff last year.
Okay,
Okay, so you do the teacher.
okay. Sure. Teacher.
Dave, Josh, Lance.
Yep.
Yes, okay. And then, well, or should we have, because of Heather being on support staff, so should he be on a teacher?
Probably should. Yeah,
They mentioned that last night.
yeah. So add Brad to that.
She usually comes in and complains about you, so.
Kind of other 3
Yeah, yep. Support staff.
support staff. Erica, Jeff, and Derek. And then strategic plan. Like 3 or 4.
I would like to, I also think it'd be good if we could include Brad in that too, just
Yeah,
otherwise it doesn't really, we wouldn't have an opportunity to kind of deep dive in with him
right.
as to kind of how we got to where we
So
were.
really could be a really good exercise in learning the priorities of the district and future of the district. Yeah. All right, Lance, Brad,
I will.
I imagine Jeff would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lance, Brad, or could you?
Okay. So.
Dates for the.
Okay,
Typically done, the first half of May, right? Somewhere in that first couple weeks of May. You know, maybe look at the weeks of, and I think we did them, the same night last year even, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice for us to be able to be at both meetings.
and then where we were last year?
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, in the boardroom. Yeah.
The year before was elementary school.
Are we still rotating them? I mean, that's another decision, I guess, where you want to do them. We rotate the annual meeting. Last year they were, you know,
I've never done the support staff or it's always been here. I'm not sure it was in this room and the year before was in.
Is always here. I think the high school is been at different locations.
Maybe that's because Elaine, I just remember being with the Langers and they were at the elementary school. And that was
Yeah.
right after the referendum passed and.
because support staff, we know we were meeting with small groups with teachers. It could be
Mm,
0 to 120. Who showed up last year? You know, I anticipate honestly, usually a bigger turnout when there's needs or requests or whatever turmoil, and that just hasn't been the case. Last, I would just say
Just here.
schedule it here.
I agree.
Could fit a
But then we
large group
know
in this
that
room
it's
if we needed to.
open and no distractions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you know ahead of time how many people are, do they sign up in advance before
For
they?
support staff, yes. Teachers, no.
Oh, so, okay.
okay, so.
There's support staff there.
Yeah.
Start there with teachers or whatever. If it's a large group, we could come in here. So somebody want to start throwing out dates? That would Monday the 6th. Monday the 6th.
Not even for when they get a Monday off, if that matters. What
What's
time of
that?
the day do we usually do it during the day, right?
No, evenings.
Oh.
We will start sometimes at the earliest we can, you know, like 3:30-ish with support staff. But what's the earliest you could start?
If it's in the evening, it doesn't matter.
I think that we would do support staff, then teachers.
We did teachers first last year.
We did at 3:30 or something.
It was at 3:30, I think. Maybe 3:45.
What's the earliest?
I'm open anytime after 3 o'clock.
Okay. I'm gonna start teachers at 3:30. That'll work
That works for me.
for
I'm teachers.
Dave, Josh, Lance, and Brad.
3:30 on the 6th.
3:30 and 6th. Work for you, Jen?
Yeah.
And then
Here is that, yeah.
then we'll go 4 o'clock, start, you know, and then, so Kelly sends out invites to all the 13 different support staff groups, and then they reply whether they want to meet or not. So then the schedule is based on that. So we'll start at 4 o'clock with one of them, and could be done at 6, could be done at 9 if everybody decided to shoot. But if that is the case, like if we go past, let's say 5:30-ish, we'll plan on dinner then too. All right, 3:30 teachers, 4 o'clock support staff here. Monday, May 6th. Perfect.
Do we want to talk about the strategic plan when we want to meet? Or wait a bit?
Is everything the next month then? We have to.
Yeah, it'll be June before the actual goals and action plans are set. So
Maybe after the next,
yeah,
after the May meeting and then do like a,
let's put that on the agenda for
Kickoff.
next month.
yeah.
To set that date. Okay.
Okay, so now we can move on to appointment of representative to the 24 CSA 11 annual convention. Typically Jeff goes.
Yeah, typically if we have a board member, on the CISA board, which we have for years, Howard and now Jeff. It's been Jeff past, so I assume it just makes sense that he's.
I make a motion to put Jeff on
Second that motion.
it. This would be fun. It's just.
So Vince and Lance, any discussion? We need to wait for those. No. All in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed? Motion carries. All right. All right, next up. Consideration of request to name SCC Elementary 4K wing in honor of Greg Green.
All right, so just as a reminder, you have a policy on this, only one in 900 right now. So again, naming of district facilities, this policy was formed back in 2013, and somebody approached me about naming the baseball field in honor of Mike Fern, and so the board developed a policy at that time. So just as a reminder of what we're proposing, this is naming other facilities and areas of facilities. Not limited to auditoriums, gymnasiums, pool, library, athletic fields, right? So this 4K wing would fall within this. So the naming shall be reviewed against the following evaluation criteria: the extent to which the proposed name reflects or exemplifies the mission, vision, or ideals of the district, the extent to which the proposed name will have significant meaning to current, I would add past, and future students, other members of the school community, and other members of the broader local community. And 3, if the naming of a major facility after person must not A, be a current employee of the district, B, serve as an acceptable and relevant role model for students, and C, have an extraordinary contribution within the fields of education, science, art, business, or philanthropy, and or served an extraordinary role in history as a leader, local, statewide, national, or global significance. So then the administrator shall evaluate the proposal against those criteria and formulate a recommendation to the board. So the administrator can recommend that the board consider this proposal. I could recommend an alternative means or take no action. So my recommendation, based on that criteria, Greg Green, certainly in his 46 years dedicated service to this district, does exemplify the mission, vision, ideals of the district. He does have significant meaning to past, current, and future students, staff, community members, and he is not a current employee now as of April 1st. He certainly serves an acceptable and relevant role model for students and more. He has made an extraordinary contribution to our district and our community. So I strongly recommend that the board consider Greg Green for the naming of the 4K wing, which, as you know, right, the sign is up. We had a ceremony for it. This is a formality, and this is different, and we really wanted to keep it a secret and make it a surprise, and it worked, yes. So that's why this was a little wonky, right? But we had the date in our calendar. It was a perfect opportunity, your celebration last Friday, and I think many of you were there or are aware of what happened. So, but I propose that you make it official at this time.
I don't know. We gotta take all that signage down.
The walls.
Make a motion to name the 4K wing after Greg Green.
I'll second that.
Vince made the motion and Dave second. Is there any discussion? I just want to say it was a wonderful day for a wonderful person, and so many tears and just full of gratitude. And I get nervous speaking in front of people. I told Greg after it, I said, my very first encounter with him was Elliot, our 21-year-old, lost his boots. He was a kindergartner, and it was on a Friday, and somehow I got his phone number and called Greg. Yep, I'll go look through the halls, and he finds them. And that's just Greg Green. You ask him, he helps. He doesn't ask questions. He does it with a smile on his face. And there's so many stories. The cafeteria was full. So it's awesome.
It was amazing to see how many people were there.
Yes, that showed a lot. How many people were there? Yeah. Some people we hadn't seen.
Kept it a secret. I don't know how you kept it a secret. I just, I'm all over the place.
Right? It was hard.
Pigs in the nose.
Different instruction meetings. Yeah, everything.
We had to have a meeting after the meeting.
Yeah,
I feel a little left out now.
I felt bad. Thank you very much.
He remains though, there's a life-size cutout and they're gonna keep him around, so. And they're like, come read to our students, so he's gonna figure it out, but.
Yeah.
He'll be around. So,
Thank you.
all right, so anything else before we take a vote? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
I say you make them figure it out for at least a year. Don't take any phone calls.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be doing just fine then. Everything's good.
Okay, moving on to discussion regarding the preliminary 24-25 budget. And Jen is going to present, and you have a sheet in front of you.
Now we get to talk about the really fun stuff. So about a month ago, we had formed a compensation committee with just some of the administration to look at different salaries and starting wages and stuff. And we got to the point where we kind of had a plan. And then I started punching some numbers into the budget and I'm like, this is not looking really good. We have about $855,000 worth of ESSER funding that is going to be fully spent at the end of this fiscal year. So we started meeting as a whole admin team and talking about what can we do strategically so that we can give our staff a CPI increase. And so for the last 3 weeks, we've been meeting and we came up with a plan. And I think it's gonna work pretty good for us. It might be a little bit tight, but we'll make it work. So
Just as a reminder, the history, right? The ESSER funding and the fiscal cliff we warned legislators about, right? For years, testified at the Joint Finance Committee hearings during the biennial budget and said, these are one-time monies. The federal government, right, gave it to the state of Wisconsin for schools to use for COVID mitigation and COVID strategies and reading and learning recovery. And they said, no, we'd be foolish to ignore that money. And they forced us to use it for operational budget, which again is one-time money. It's fiscal cliff we kept talking about. And here we are. We had to form the committee, do this, and then talk about how we're going to balance the budget. We don't want to say cuts, but essentially is we had to take some things out of our budget or get creative with prepaying them this year, et cetera. But just a reminder that, we advocated, talked to our legislators, and because number one, if that 855,000 was in, all this in our revenue limit worksheet and state aid, we would have been reimbursed on that, and it would have continued, and it wouldn't truly have been 855,000. It might have been much less, but that's the reality we're in. We can complain about it, or we can do something about it. So we got to work, and I think Jen's going to present the plan.
yeah, and maybe to piggyback off that a little bit too, in 22-23, we had about 1.2 million of ESSER funding in our budget. So to reduce it from 1.2 down to 855,000 this year, and now to go back down to 0. So this has not been an easy feat to try to come out of this, and we knew that's what would happen. We were fully expecting that. But we were very committed to wanting to give our staff a CPI increase because, of course, that's our biggest expense. So some of the other challenges that we're having is our 3-year rolling average. If you remember our third Friday count in September last year, we were down 49 students. So our 3-year rolling average will continue to decrease. In the first year, you get a one-time exemption. So you'll notice on the sheet that now that money is coming off from this year for next year's budget. It's $156,074 there. So that's part of that. Like in the first year when your 3-year rolling average decreases, they still give you the money. The next year it drops off. So now, because we're in the second year of this, our 3-year rolling average is decreasing again. We'll have another 1-year exemption, and I'm estimating that to be about 198,000, so a little bit more.
So that's per decrease.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So now next year, if it's still, that's assuming our enrollment stays flat.
Mhm.
So then next year, that 198,000 will also go away, and then there might be a new one, you know, if it stays flat again.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but you know, even in our meetings as administration talking about this, you know, do we think all of a sudden we're going to have a large influx of kids, mostly in the virtual school? You know, we've been advertising and stuff, which helps for our open enrollment, but maybe not as much, you know, with our regular resident students. And that holds true with the population study that we had done a few years back as well.
Yeah, our 4K enrollment, right, is smaller than our graduating class. And that's what population studies said. Birth rates, you know, in our county are down. We graduate, you know, on 120 kids and bring in 90-ish now in 4K. And then it goes up a little bit in kindergarten.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the virtual school, or again, attracting and remaining a destination district for folks that want to move here versus other places in their geographical region, can help that financially.
Yeah. So the good news is the biennial budget, you know, was set last year at $325 per student increase. So we will see that $325. So that will be about $525,000 coming in. Our per pupil adjustment aid will decrease only again because of that third Friday count. As that average continues to go down, that will continue to decrease. That's pretty minimal. And then we are, of course, are in year 3 now in 24-25 of our operational revenue limit increase of $375,000. So we get to add that in. Some other things that we added in. So as of right now, our virtual school is actually over budget on their enrollment projections. So we were able to add that $210,000 in, as well as the increase in the estimated open enrollment amount. So you can see those numbers there. And then this budget also assumes an increase of 25 FTE for the virtual school for open enrollment, which we feel like we can easily meet that, especially now we've been advertising and stuff. So, and just talking with, you know, Steph about how that could work, you know, because she might be at a point where she's going to need more staff, and we're not including any additional staff in this. So we have talked about, you know, once she hits that 25, then potentially being able to add, you know, on depending on when we meet that criteria. And then the rest of it is more like, you know, an 8% increase in the equalized valuation. Our 5-year average is now almost 13%. So I think 8% is pretty conservative there. And of course, that only affects the mill rate. And then for debt 39, we have included $1.145 million in debt repayment. So with that amount, according to this plan, we would still be able to prepay debt next year and keep our mill rate at the $9.20. Any questions on the revenue piece?
Random question about the virtual school. Is that the amount of staff needed for that? Is that a calculable like you know, 25 kids per class? If you get to 50, you know, you need 2 teachers, or is it kind of more based on service to the students that you have.
Service, yeah, like the next staff added would be a mix of part social studies teacher, because that's where we're lacking right now. Part electives teacher, what Cayman, we were talking about Cayman teaches, and part registrar, which when students first contact us, get enrolled, there's a lot of work to be done in the front end and getting them in all the classes with the curriculum, getting them into our student information software. And, you know, it shows 325 students currently just open enrolled in our district, but that doesn't include all the kids that have started or dropped out too. So it's, you know, closer to like 480, 380 for the years. You take us this as much work if they stay 10 years or they stay 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I would stay longer than that, 2 months, but yeah, so it'd be a combination of that, is what she said with the next staff addition, for example. But yeah, it's not like your traditional, you got whatever, 20 kids in a classroom with one teacher. If you get 20 more kids, you gotta have another teacher.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah, kind of a good question.
It does add workload though, right? Like there's still correcting papers and that type of, you know what I mean? So like at a certain point, you know, it's just a
Depends
workload type
if they're
thing.
more elementary students, if our elementary teachers, or more high school or social studies.
Yeah.
And some are probably more self-sufficient than others and maybe don't need as much assistance.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the expenditures. So the position changes for next year. Just want to note right off the bat that none of these positions are currently filled. So they've all been empty positions this year. The 3 para positions, I believe, were even empty last year. So they've been positions that have been really hard to fill, but we've kept that money within the budget to see if we could hire someone. But now we're saying that we would reduce para 2 at the elementary. And then 3 sped para positions. I guess I don't remember what buildings those were in.
Elementary.
Were they all
I think
elementary?
5 cardinal things with elementary.
Yeah, they have 5 openings, yep. And then we have 2 teachers that are currently receiving overload pay that we will not need them to teach those extra classes next year. So we can take that amount out of the budget. And then we also had a floating custodian position that was in the budget for this year that we did not hire. So that would be taken off the table as well. So those were some of the concessions that we came up to get a 4.12% CPI increase for our existing staff. And then I added an extra $15,000 in there just for the subs and stuff, increasing them by that same 4.12%. So that total cost is for the salary increases about 800,000. And then of course it carries down, you see all of these items that are calculated because as soon as you add salary, now you have more in your 403B benefit, you have more FICA, you have more Wisconsin retirement. When I plug these in the model, it calculates all of those for me. And then as well as health insurance was the next thing I wanted to point out, that 2025 is the second year of a 2-year contract that we're in currently. Our cap is 10%, depending on how our, rates are for claims and such. Sometimes we've been able to negotiate a lower rate and extend our contract into the future. So I'm not sure at this point exactly where we're sitting with our claims ratio, but
No,
I
we
feel
haven't
like
had a report in a while.
it's been a while. Yeah. So worst case scenario is 10% for health insurance. And then down below, we have all of our other object series. So again, on the revenue side, we have that debt prepayment. On the expenditure side, then we have that money going out. We had a couple other concessions in the budget, which was kind of pre-buy some Chromebooks so that we could reduce the IT budget. We had some curriculum purchases that we were able to pay for this year, so we don't need to pay for that next year, and we can reduce that budget by a little bit. And then because it's already a financial obligation of the district for our bus leases, for our lighting lease, we can prepay those amounts, similar to what we do with our local retirement benefit. And so we won't have those payments due in the fall, then we can get those into this year. And, you know, with running short on staff this year in our budget, it helped us to be able to make those payments. So we'll be doing that before June 30th. And then you can also see that very last line then is our open enrolled out. So again, that same increase in that open enrollment amount that we receive from other districts, we have to pay out for our kids that are going to other districts. So the one thing that was kind of in limbo is the maintaining the 17% fund balance. And I think it's going to depend on exactly how this year plays out. So I feel confident that if you go on to the next page, this is actually the output from the Baird budget model. So you can see for 23-24 that we have 101,000 going into our fund balance. That amount is going to be higher. So I'm hoping we can keep it at that same 17.23% of expenditures as we were in 22-23 for this year. And then we won't need quite as much next year. But right now with this model, we're showing about a $12,000 surplus. So we're going to need a little bit more than that. But like I said, once this year plays out, then I think we'll have the ability to be able to make that happen.
You mentioned unfilled support staff positions this year. What other things in this year's budget where we're under budget that's going to allow us to prepay, you know, like utilities?
Yeah. So utilities was a big one because we had, you know, not much precipitation this winter and it was pretty warm. So that wasn't that one thing. Bus fuel has been down a little bit for a majority of the year. It's been ticking back up again now this spring, but I think there'll be some savings there. And then along with these positions, we had 5 para positions that we didn't fill. So that's going to make a big difference too.
So do we have, so this is 325 from the referendum, does that covers all the steps that happen throughout the year? Like people that are reaching a 5-year, 10, you know, a step in their career, or do we not have many this year? Because some years you could have a whole bunch, right? Like
right. So. Yeah. So what we did was we costed out all the staff and then figured out approximately like what was the average amount. And per year, it was about 575,000. And then we said, okay, the district has normally put about $200,000 into salary increases each year, you know, prior to the referendum. So we will continue to do that. And then that's how we came up with that 375,000 to make all those steps happen with that district contribution. Of course, in the meantime, our model was built on a 2% CPI. And of course, last year we saw an 8% CPI and we were able to give staff 3%. And now this year we're seeing the 4.12% CPI. So if, you know, hopefully that starts coming down, but now I heard on the news the other night it upticked a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
We talked, right? If we continue to go below CPI, right? And like last year, we did 3%, other districts, most other districts did 4 and some did 5. But then, you know, if we keep doing that and trending that way, we're going to be in the same position and be below average. So it's nice that, you know, we were presenting a budget that's going to at least hit the CPI this year, which again, yeah, we would never probably be able to do 8% or, but to be.
I guess my point was like
Right.
some years you have less of the steps because those are the bigger increases, right?
Right.
Like, so
So to your point, yeah, Jen meets, like Kayla and Callie, and they run the whole, basically actuarial, every person we know right now, right? We're still hiring a few, but every person, what step they're on, so
yeah.
it's an accurate to date
Mhm.
measurement of who we're gonna be paying next year.
So just changes between now and then. I mean, obviously over the summer, we always see some changes. And we'll, have to take that into account when we have the annual meeting in July. So it will look different again, but very similar. And then, of course, setting the levy in October, again, it'll be different, but similar. And, depending on what happens with our student count too, that could make a big difference.
So looking at the model on the last page or whatever,
Mhm.
like the 25, 26 year and 28, 29 year, why are those so much more, why the levy's higher, basically? Like, is there percent?
So I put in all the criteria for this year and then it carries it forward. So like for 25, 26, it's saying we're gonna have a deficit of 492,000 based on what's in there right now. So obviously, as we get to next year, there'll be things that we can do to change that. It's just that we haven't really looked out that far in advance. So I always say focus on that, current year that we're in and then that next budget year are the most accurate.
They just said they don't move a lot, but they do
Yeah.
move, so it's kind of weird. to look at.
Mhm.
When you look at the forecast portion, I know that, like, I'm sure it's a computer model that just, you probably don't even, I wouldn't expect anyone to know what they put into it, but is there anything on that forecasted chart that you always keep an eye on, that if that changes, it triggers something for you? Or is it's kind of a model and it's used with care, kind of?
Well, it's, like I make sure when I go in there that, this year I had the exact dollar amount for our salary increases. And then the years going out, it's set at 2%. So if next year it's 3.5%, then we'll have to update it, figure things out.
Sure.
But a lot of it's in the revenue limit too, like the model doesn't show an increase in the revenue limit going forward, even though technically it's set at $325 per student. I think they can change it still at any time. So that's where you see some of those other discrepancies, where you get those bigger differences.
Yeah, again, staff salary and benefits, 85% of the budget, like any organization, but then our student count, right, is a big
Yeah.
variable. And, frankly, again, if it wasn't for the virtual school growth, right, we've been cutting staff and big budget cuts the last couple of years. So it's been a good thing.
And
It's a win-win.
that 325 is forever in a sense. The way
That's
it's
what the
written.
governor signed, but there's ways to get tricky with the veto pen and yeah, so
Right.
hopefully, so right now it says in perpetuity, forever, yeah. Or
I guess my thinking is we'll see what happens now once we enter the second biennium to see if it does stay or if it really was just a 2-year,
Sure.
because it's still possible for them to change it. So,
When you look at the virtual schools, the way to the future.
Yeah, it's a win-win. I mean, Steph will do a report, but it's not just on the numbers, it's gonna be on the stories of these kids, like, this was similar to Keto 2 kids, like, everybody's got a story, and this was a lifesaver for them, really.
I thought it was kind of interesting how actually they weren't good at online school, most of them, or
Yeah.
like I had a family of 3 and that I had 2 of them that were exactly like that and one that just thrived in the online environment or
Is there any early feedback? I mean, I don't know if we track leads in a sense for the marketing that we're doing on that, but is that might be way off topic or a future agenda item, but I know we started talking about putting a little bit more focus into that.
Yep, so we're, in month 3 now of that, and we do get 30-day reports. So our next one is last month, it was on the 15th, so any day now. But yeah, we'll be given a report. It's kind of too complex right now to get into off the cuff, but yeah, again, we're paying $640 a month for 35,000 impressions, digital ads. But then they do the rate, and they do by word search. So we're potentially designing our ads based on the most common word combinations, and we still don't have a finite way to determine if they enrolled with us because of it.
Sure.
Clicks are equaling.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and then there's a way in our enrollment process to say, how do you learn about us, right?
Sure.
That. Yeah, like I said, if we get one student per year for that, it pays for itself. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And our biggest, and I just ran this report, it was really interesting, as long as we're on the subject, but New Richmond is our highest open enrolled in the virtual charter school in the 60 some, then followed by Hudson 40 some, then it's River Falls, but then Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine areas, in pockets. So we can geofence and get intentional with where we advertise. Right now we're just saying statewide, but then there's like 100 of just one in that district, so it's like, well, that's still worth it. So why would we, but there's pockets like Green Bay and maybe Wausau that don't, because they're strong in their virtual schools already. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting. We're exploring it, and we'll do a board report on that this summer for sure.
Yeah. Be interesting.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Everyone that put that all together.
And just again, Jen, as a reminder, annual budget is how many million?
20,
Just, roughly.
26
Yeah.
for Fund 10, I think only, yeah.
Yeah.
So about 26 for Fund 10. So by the time you add Fund 27 to it, it's getting close to 30 million. And then of course, all the special funds.
It's crazy. Just how much has grown in since I've been here. Only 3 years.
Thank you. Okay, now we move on to consideration of approval of the second readings of the board policies. We've got second readings starting at H and going through Q.
I guess to Tom's point, I mean, I read through those AI ones and they're pretty general. Like, it wants us to have a policy so that if we have a situation that we can deal with it. Otherwise, we could get caught with our pants down and refer to AI issues. So.
Right, it's out there. Ignoring it isn't, the answer. We gotta have a policy on it. And I like, it's responsible use. We broke it down differently for student and staff. As a reminder, it's vetted and run through our legal counsel. It is general, covers privacy and ethical use and educational purpose. And I think like any good policy, it's written vague enough that really all, the magic and where the rubber meets the road is in the actual, implementation and administration of it and common sense. So, yeah, it's a new thing that we're going to continue to monitor, but it's out there, and we know we have to have a policy on it because that's reason for any policy is it's gonna be needed.
Yeah, I would argue it's part of any workplace right now, right? Like,
yeah,
and yeah, bad things can happen, just like bad things can happen driving car down the road and get rear-ended a stop sign, but it doesn't mean don't teach drivers ed.
We're preparing people for real life applications, and it's there, I guess, as long as we go about it responsible, which the policy talks about all. I mean, it's literally about responsibility of AI technology. So,
is there a big curriculum push from the state on any of that or
No.
stuff that comes through, or do they just kind of leave it up to schools? Because to your point, it's everywhere and it will be everywhere. So you're kind of trying to expose kids in a responsible fashion, because it is easy to just plug your homework in when you're at home if you wanted to, kind of thing. So
No, there's not a curriculum push, but there's lots of information out there and a responsible use of it, and professional development, books and workshops and experts and podcasts and you name it. And it's going to be in every, aspect of, it's not just limited to high school English and plagiarism.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be whatever, eventually all the way down. And it's not just, there's.
You do.
I do.
It's what?
I said I use it every day. I told you at school. It's just
Doctor it up or look at, fixes grammar. Yeah, my emails have gotten a lot.
Yeah, it can be used for bad, right? It can take your voice, send a message to whoever you want, and to the guys that it's you, but it's not, and pictures and all that. Again, that's.
It's the world
You can't
we're
ignore it.
living right now, right? So
Yeah.
You want to take it away again?
what letters were we through?
H through Q.
H through Q.
The motion to approve board policies H through Q, first readings, I think. Second reading, sorry.
So Vince made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Josh? Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we have consideration of first readings. Are to double C. Mhm. We don't vote on them.
Elimination of one.
And then we do vote on the elimination. If you want to move on to that.
Which one? I'll make a motion to eliminate all the way through double D.
So it's just D,
Just-
it's
just-
just double D. So,
Just double D, yes.
yeah. So Vince made the motion and he made the second.
Yep, second.
Lance, any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 14, possible future agenda items.
I think just the schedule strategic committee meeting.
Yep.
And then not for next week or next month per se, but just I'd be interested in
The advertising.
the advertising of virtual school at some point in the next
Let's
do that next 3 months or so.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of fun to just
Mhm.
check on every 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? So we'll move on to important upcoming dates. April 28th is the St. Croix Central Board Development Meeting at 5 p.m. here at the district office. So that goes from 5 to 9. Everybody's got that on their calendar. We have May 8th, staff appreciation breakfast starting at 7:15 in each building. May 10th is the 24 staff retirement and recognition event at 2 p.m. in the high school commons and then in the auditorium. So if you guys can make it, it would be good. Be there. May 15th is a school board meeting at 7 at the district office. And May 24th is the graduation ceremony at 7 p.m. at the high school gym. Vince made a motion.
Well, just that you're rolling. In honor of.
I know.
I'll second that.
All right. Lance made a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. 9 o'clock.